heard, I believe, Atlanta 148 try to check in just as they cleared out, and I was calling to let him know that he may have to call back after they have their break and their opening spiel.
Okay, well, you're sounding fine, and you were not doubled on the first time, so we got you checked in twice. Well, Net Control does, that is, but I'm pretty sure they'll circle back to 148. Anywho, I just wanted to make sure you didn't have any immediate need of assistance. Let me go ahead and back on out of here because, well, Net Control is going to be back on in Vanguard here very shortly. WRKN 464 Atlanta 1402. I'll be clear.
Okay, Todd, thank you for coming back, because now I do know that it's okay, and hopefully he's listening and will come back. Thanks. WROB 245, Atlanta 849, clear, listening. Anybody know the topic?
Very soon indeed.
That was great timing.
This is WQIR 514. Atlanta 946. My name is Justin.
And this is WRWM 344, Blue Ridge 63. My name is Mike.
This is WSAL 368, Atlanta 263. My name is Rogers.
And this is WRUB 711, Atlanta 519. My name is Gary.
Hey, I should have the script up, but before we get into all of that, well, you know what? Let me just say a couple things real quick. We are aware of the Skywarn activation on the Northern Core servers, so Northern Core repeaters. So that we have basically disconnected the Northern Core. All of the Central Core repeaters are currently linked and active and separate from the Northern Core, so that the Skywarn activation can operate unimpeded by tonight's net. So with that in mind, if you can't hear us on your favorite repeater, you could just tune in to YouTube and watch the net from there. We'll try to pay particular attention to the chat tonight, and if you have something you'd like for us to convey on the air, just make mention of that in the chat, and we'll try to bring that into the conversation so that if you're not able to participate on your favorite repeater, we can still get you engaged in tonight's conversation. Tonight's conversation is about, to answer Pamela's question, what are we talking about? Field operations.
I should probably get the chat pulled up, huh?
Well, yeah, we've got a minute for that, but we'll probably want to take some YouTube logins and stuff like that. But while you're doing that, let me buy you some time. And
portable radios, to answer your question.
Yeah?
Portable field ops, man packs, ammo cans, all the different varieties of portable radio communications other than HTs. Probably don't consider that part of this, but I don't know, maybe.
I think HTs are,
maybe.
I mean, how much portable can you get?
Well, that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
You can HT your way into an all-day thing if you've got enough batteries.
Yeah.
You got a way to
Dana's
recover.
HTing into the net tonight from Mount Olympus.
That's right. So I think that's valid. HTs are definitely a method of field operations. So it's something that I think of if you're going to be operating away from a base camp or away from your home HQ. Then I think that's generally the topic. So with that in mind, let's kind of transition into the way things ought to start on a typical North Georgia GMRS regional net. Good evening and welcome to the North Georgia GMRS regional net. I think I just said that. Tonight we are live from Studio Vanguard and we're linked in with the following repeaters. Which repeaters are we following, Gary?
So we are and this is where I'll pull up my map that I don't have ready, but I'm gonna get there.
It's a trend tonight.
It's there. It's there.
I didn't have my chat.
It is there. Okay, I'm ready. All right. So tonight we are obviously on the following repeaters. We're on Flagship. We're on Toccoa, the Jersey, Buckhead, Rome, Dallas, Watkinsville, Lula, Noonan, Columbus, Peachtree, McDonough, Zebulon, Ocala, and
I think that's it.
That's our group.
Yeah, we've also got our VoIP connection, also known as Zello, And that's it. So if you didn't hear your repeater read, it's probably because it's not linked in and you didn't hear us at all. So congratulations on that. Tonight, our RF coverage encompasses a pretty big area. This net takes place every Thursday evening at 7:30 p.m. I'd like to thank all of you who have made North Georgia GMRS the most expansive and active GMRS network in the country. We've already identified ourselves, haven't we? Should we do it again? Your net control tonight is Atlanta 946, WQIR 514. My name is Justin.
And this is WRWM 344, Blue Ridge 63. My name is Mike.
This is WSAL 368, Atlanta 263. My name is Rogers.
And at the end of the table, if you're watching YouTube, it's WRUB 711, Atlanta 519. My name is Gary.
All right, he's the guy with the flux capacitor over his shoulder, so we have to make sure that everything goes smoothly at that end of the table.
Fully charged and portable, so it fits tonight's theme.
On the net, you can talk about your day's activities, radio equipment, or anything you think we'd like to hear. This is a family-based network, so we encourage you to get your family involved. Guest check-ins are welcome from anyone with a valid FCC call sign. Once the floor is open, it is permissible to address other members of the net by their name or tactical unit number. Your FCC call sign is only required when you sign in and sign out of the net. Also, if you can't hear us on your favorite repeater, YouTube is a great alternative option. So if through the course of the evening repeaters get unlinked and all of a sudden your favorite repeater goes silent, you can try another repeater, or you can just go to YouTube and listen to us there. We're going to try extra hard to monitor the chat tonight and engage with any YouTube comments over the air as much as we are able to. So we encourage anyone that is monitoring or watching us on YouTube to go ahead and bring your topics of conversation to the chat.
And we're watching the weather too tonight. So I think this is a night to practice safe radio usage. There's a lot of storms in the area. So if you don't feel safe, come over to YouTube in your safe space and watch the stream.
Yeah, common practice for a lot of folks on their base radios is to power down and disconnect. And if that's your mode of lightning protection, I would encourage you to do that now. Go ahead and shut that radio station down with the weather that we have in the area, and just be safe. Go ahead and isolate your system. If you're using lightning protection such as polyphasers and that sort of thing, and you're comfortable operating in storm conditions, then that's okay too. And if you're using an HT, that's pretty safe to use in storm conditions. So I think you'll be all right in that light. But definitely safety first. You know, we can always come back and watch the net again on YouTube after the fact. If you need to take shelter, absolutely take shelter. Don't worry about these silly guys on the radio. And if you have urgent communications situation that you need to convey, please feel free to break in with that. And with that, we hope that tonight we'll have a little bit of respect for the opportunities to break and not fill that with useless noise. So with that in mind, and again, if you do experience a situation where your repeater gets dropped, just be sure and go back to YouTube. And Mike says I need a break. All right. So with that, we have no tips tonight, but we do have Charlie Victor 2 times with some information about an upcoming event. I believe that event is going to happen on April 26th. CV, what's your forecast for the 26th look like?
Well, Control, this is Gainesville 285, WRKN 234. Pardon any noise in the transmission. We've got lightning and wind and rain and trees bending all over the place, so we'll see how it comes through. Saturday, April 26th, the 4th annual
North Georgia GMRS cookout at the flagship repeater site. And one thing I want to emphasize is that this is an outdoor event. Therefore, it is weather dependent. Everyone needs to keep their eyes on email. As soon as we get some sort of reliable weather forecast, maybe a couple of days ahead of time, we will know that the event goes through. If it does not go through for April 26 because of weather, we will shoot for Saturday, May 3rd, and then we also have set aside Saturday, May 10. So it is weather dependent. Beyond that, everyone needs to bring a lawn chair. All food is provided, hamburgers, hot dogs, the fixings, some desserts. We have a parking team assembled. People need to follow directions and park where they're directed to park, which will not be at the flagship site. It'll be pretty much next door. And then we will have transportation available between the parking site and the tower site. We look forward to a great time. Right now we're standing at 110 people, plus probably about another 8 or 10 whom I have not checked in yet today. So probably 118, 120 right now. So I'll break and you can ask questions if you need to.
CV, we have a map up on our YouTube stream right now. Can you talk a little bit about the property and kind of how it lays out, you know, where we want to park cars and how we want to avoid the fire hall?
Okay. The GPS address that you need to use is 2996 Monument Road, Jasper, Georgia. And I do not have the zip code in front of me right now. But now that address is going to take you to the Pickens County Volunteer Fire Department. The actual tower site is immediately to the right of the fire department. But the parking area is going to be 2 doors to the left of the fire station. So you're not going to go to the fire department. You're going to go past the fire department, and there will be people there assisting with this. And then you'll be transported if you choose not to walk, which it's a very short walk. You'll be transported from the parking area back over to the tower site. So we have it pretty well coordinated.
Very good, CV. So, transportation from the parking area to the picnic. Who's providing the hayride?
That's a good one. Well, I've been on several hay rides in my earlier days. It won't be a hayride. It'll be well, there goes a weather warning. It'll be a golf cart side by side type of thing. So I'll break and turn this thing off.
All right. I didn't know if that was a severe weather coming in or somebody needing help with bail.
You know, we started to evacuate Vanguard there for just a second when we heard the tones go off.
That's right.
CV, stay safe. Stay safe out there.
That's right. If you need to take shelter, do that, and we can work our way through the announcements. But if you're still there and wanting to convey any more, I think probably the next thing that we should talk about is seating arrangements, tables and chairs and that sort of thing. I think the general idea is that if you want a seat, you probably ought to bring one. And I think the same goes for a table. The food will be basically finger and hand food, sandwiches, hamburgers, hot dogs, chips, and things like that. So I don't know that we need tables to eat at. We can hold paper plates in our laps and that sort of thing. But if you feel like you have to have a table, then you'll have to bring a table. So that'll be part of the things to pack for that day. Also, we'll take a look at weather, but when we get closer, it could be a hot sunny day. If it is a hot sunny day, you'll want to be sure that you have sunscreen, and you might even think about bringing some kind of shelter from the sun, pop-up canopy of some sort, so that you can get underneath that, and you might be able to borrow some shade. There are plenty of trees that surround the area, but the tree line is that's natural forested property there, so that's not really kept or mowed, or I wouldn't recommend pitching a blanket out under the trees, because that is rough terrain out there, and I don't know what you might expect in the way of animals or bugs once you get outside of the tree line. So I think you'll be pretty comfortable in the grassed-in area surrounding Flagship, and I think that'll be a safe space to occupy. But bear in mind, you'll want to bring a chair if you intend to sit anywhere, and I highly recommend that we all bring our own lawn chairs for that purpose.
As you were talking about the forest and whatnot, that got me thinking I should probably bring some bug spray.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, it's spring.
Yes, bug spray is really that's going to be up to you. A sunscreen, bug spray, but we are in the woods, and it's a very natural environment just around the perimeter of the Flagship site. So there will be the potential for wildlife. I think that we'll make enough noise that most of that will be well away from the area, but you may see some on your drive up there. Plenty of times on my drive to Flagship, I've seen bears, I've seen deer, I've seen any of a number of wildlife along the roadway and in the woods that surround that area. So I would suggest that you come early so that you can enjoy the drive and take your time. Pull off on the scenic overlooks and take in the views. Beautiful vistas. If you're coming from Jasper, 575 towards Flagship, there's a couple of places where you can pull off and really enjoy the mountain views. Let me break. Also, you might think about a little bit of extra time after the cookout. There is, at the end of Monument Road, there's a place called the Eagles Rest. And the Eagles Rest is a park area that you can go, you can park in, and there are some observation decks that you can hike out to. It's not a long hike, and it's not a rugged hike, but it's definitely not wheelchair accessible. So if you have mobility issues, the parking area is about as far as you should go at the Eagles Rest. But it's worth driving to just to have a look-see. It's very natural, very in the woods kind of an environment. But if you can walk out to these observation platforms that have been built out there, the views from those platforms are stunning. So you can see the horizon for many, many, many miles, comparable to the view that you might get from the back porch at the what's the name of the waterfall? I'm trying to think of the big waterfall that's right there.
It's right on the tip of my tongue. Amicalola.
Amicalola. That's what it is. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. But the back porch at the lodge at Amicalola Falls has a wonderful view, and the views from the Eagles Rest are comparable to what you might see at Amicalola Falls. Let me break. CV, did you have anything you want to interject, or have you gone to the basement?
Yeah, we're strong here. We're not going to a basement. We're hanging in here. But, yeah, parking is available at 11 a.m. We eat at 12 p.m. I would encourage people not to pile up all at 11 o'clock, just so we don't get things too congested at one time. So anyway, parking opens at 11 o'clock. It will not be open before 11, and we eat at 12, and very good information and instructions and comments, Justin. So I'll get out of here and let y'all have it. Gainesville 285, WRKN 234, be clear.
You know, Justin, we missed the lead. We missed the lead in that, what's the cost of admission? We didn't talk about that.
Oh, well, we certainly can talk about that. We just have to push the button on the floor. And, so Gary brings up a very good point with regard to the cost of admission. CV, if you're still there, how much does it cost to attend the 4th annual Smith Family Picnic?
A very good question. The cost of your gas to get there and get to wherever you're going after you leave. That's it. No cost of admission.
No, very good. So you can't get a better meal than that. Anytime you get a meal for free, and the benefit of fellowship with like-minded radio enthusiasts, that's a great way to go. Please don't forget to RSVP. Send your RSVP as an email to events.
Wait, NGGMRS
events? Oh, it's right there on the screen. It's nggrmsevents@gmail.com. So, let me break. So nggrmsevents@gmail.com is the RSVP for this. Indicate how many people are in your party, names for name badges, and include TAC numbers with those names if you could. So ideally we would have a first and last name and with a TAC number if they have it. If they don't have a TAC number, that's okay. But please include certainly the number in your party and their names for the name tags. We definitely need a good head count of who's coming, so that we can be sure we have the right amount of food. We want to be careful that we have enough food, but we don't want to be wasteful and prepare way more food than we're going to consume, because there's really no good way after the event to get that food safely to another venue. We can't really donate it. It'll just end up being thrown out. So we don't want to waste any food and prepare a whole bunch of food expecting a gazillion people. That's why we want folks to answer the RSVP. So,
what was that email address one more time?
It is nggrmsevents@gmail.com.
All right, I'm going to write it down this time. I won't forget.
All right, so there we go. With that, I think there's some other things going wrong.
Don't jinx us. It's still early.
There's some other things going on in the North Georgia GMRS area. Mike, do you want to talk about some of that?
Yeah, let's break and then let's do that. Well, good evening, everyone. This is Blue Ridge 63, WRWM 344, with this week's news and announcements, live from Studio Vanguard. I've got 3 upcoming events to tell you about, in addition to the Smith Family Picnic, that are right around the corner. The first one is the West Side Luncheon is this Saturday, April 12th, at the Taco Mac in Marietta. The address for that is 2650 Dallas Highway in Marietta. Meet up with the Rabbit Hole Gang for good food and fellowship. The luncheon begins at 11 a.m. this Saturday. David and Lisa request that you please send an RSVP email to rabbithole, all one word, at nggmrs.org, and let them know how many you'll be in your party and that you'll be coming. Next up is the Peachtree Corners Brunch Bunch. That group is meeting up at the JR's Log House Restaurant in Peachtree Corners. The address there is 6601 Peachtree Industrial Boulevard, and that's at Peachtree Industrial Boulevard and Peachtree Corners Circle. Sorry about that. Next to the bridge on top of the hill. Come in and beat the heat in the cool while enjoying good conversation with radio friends. That's 1 week from this Saturday. April 19th will be the date, from noon to 2 or 2:30 or thereabouts. The third event is the Northeast Bunch. They'll be having their next lunch meetup on Wednesday, April 30th at 11 a.m. They're meeting at the usual place, the Roosters Cafe in Dahlonega. All current, former, future NGGMRS members and guests are welcome. For more information, you can reach out to Atlanta 403 Bobby or Atlanta 256.1 Holly, and she can relay that message to Chuck. Let me break. All right, that's it for the upcoming events. For new members as well as guests listening in, I'll give you next a rundown of the weekly nets we do here on the network. This Sunday, April 13th, will be the date for the next Rabbit Hole Net. Early check-ins for that start at 7 p.m., and the net begins at 7:30. David or Lisa will announce the topic this week on our Facebook page. This net is focused on general preparedness, gear, emergency planning, and related topics. I think the last one was on emergency radio communications. The next net is the Ladies Roundtable, which is the first Monday of the month. The start time, well, that says April 7th, so that would have already happened. We should get an update on the next one, but that always starts at 8 p.m. They hope to give folks time to finish dinner and get settled in for a chat. At 8 p.m., Jennifer, your host, will come on and announce that the Ladies Net has begun, and you can check in there just like any other net. Since it is a roundtable net, if you don't make the 8 p.m. sharp kickoff, that's okay. Just listen in, and as the conversation goes, when you hear a break, you can just jump in and say comment. Atlanta 255 will ask for your name, your FCC call, your TAC number, and then tell you who to pass it on to after it's your turn. There's no set topic, just whatever they want to discuss. Tuesdays and tonight on the northern region of our network feature the Skywarn Net. On regular Tuesdays, that's a training net for Skywarn weather spotters in coordination with a national weather service in the Chattanooga region and is only available on the northern core of our network. They're actually having an activation for severe weather as we speak. Every Wednesday, there's a short ERC net at 8 p.m. This is a roll call net and is closed to North Georgia members. This is for ERC members only. Please refrain from checking into this net unless you are an ERC member. Let me break. The regional net is on Thursdays. That's this net. And early check-ins start at or around 7 p.m. We do our best, with the program beginning at or around 7:30 p.m. This net covers a variety of topics. Those knuckleheads will talk about anything, and those topics are usually posted on our Facebook page earlier in the week. We encourage all of our members to participate, and you can check in with your GMRS radio on Zello, or if you can't tune in on RF, you're welcome to join the YouTube live stream on our YouTube channel. Rounding out the week's nets and events is the Friday Night at 9 Simplex Challenge. That happens every Friday night at 8 p.m. The group meets up on the Monument repeater before breaking out to separate GMRS Simplex frequencies. Your hosts Dana, Atlanta 250, and Jonathan, Gainesville 58, will lead you in a directed net to find out who your Simplex neighbors are. Also, if you're amateur licensed, before the GMRS Simplex Challenge is the Friday Night at 9 2-meter Simplex Challenge. That group meets up on the N4 KHQ repeater. That's frequency 146.835, and they start at 7:30 p.m. This is for amateur licensed folks only. Your hosts here will be Mr. Simplex, Gainesville 58, and Rome 12, Mark, and they will lead you in a directed net testing VHF frequencies. Let me break. Speaking of Mr. Simplex, I see him checking in on the YouTube chat right now. Good evening, Jonathan. Other events, the next section up in my script is to tell you all about the Smith Family Picnic, hosted by our friends Charlie Victor, Lynn, and Trey. I'm going to skip most of this section since I think we just covered that pretty well in detail, but I do want to add and focus on 2 points. The first is just reiterating that call for RSVPs. As we get closer and closer to that date, we want to make sure we've got a good head count, so please RSVP to NGGMRS@gmail.com, and in that, make sure you include your name, your tactical unit number or call sign, and how many are in your party.
And the names of your party.
And the names
as well.
Of your party. We want to get those name tags made for everybody.
Yeah. And Mike, if people don't bring a lawn chair, where can they sit?
Squarely on the grass.
There you go.
That's it. That's the option.
So, I mean, and some people may want to bring a blanket and have a legit picnic on the ground.
Yep.
That's valid. But if you intend to sit in a chair, you'll have to bring one.
You probably should bring that chair. That's right. The other thing that I was going to mention about the picnic is at the picnic, the Hobbit Communications gang will be there with a selection of the Hobbit Communications products. If you have been considering getting one, you can place an order now. And when you do, select the store pickup option at checkout, and just note that you'll pick it up at the picnic, and that'll save you some extra dollars on shipping. And you can just pick that up at the picnic.
So a couple more points with regard to the picnic.
Yeah, go ahead.
So there will be some limited special parking for those with mobility concerns.
That's right.
So if you do have a legit mobility issue, we do have some parking spots that we're going to hold right up very close to events going on, so that you don't have to ride the hay wagon or the side-by-side or the golf cart. You'll be able to park close to and have very limited needs to move around. There will be some special presentations that'll be worth seeing. So I don't know exactly what that is, but I think that usually Gary has some things to talk about. He's probably going to talk about the fact that we're not going to put up any new repeaters this year.
Right, until next month.
Yeah, so I think that's one thing that he'll make mention of. Also, if you purchase an NX Series radio from Hobbit Communications, free updates for your code plugs will be available. Bring your radio, and we can get those radios programmed with the latest code plug, so that you'll be able to use the Buckhead machine and the PDK machine and any other recent additions to our network.
That's right. Let's break and come back.
Okay, and one more thing. There will be a directed net on the day of the picnic. So Mr. Olympus, Atlanta 253. What's his amateur call sign?
I wrote it in the log. It's like KR4DAS.
KR4 DAS.
Yes.
DAS KR4. All right. So Dana will be offering a directed net during the picnic event. So he'll be on the air sometime prior to arrival, and I don't know, we'll probably have to pry him out of Vanguard at some point. But I think that Dana, Atlanta 250, will be providing a directed net during the picnic event.
Will that be on the Monument repeater or network-wide?
That will be on all of them.
All of them?
Yeah. So
right.
that
cool.
way,
Very
if
cool.
anybody forgot that, today's the picnic, they'll hear the traffic and can get on the road. So if you show up late for the picnic, I'm sure there will still be some food. But even if you miss the meal, it's still worth going. There's going to be an opportunity to see firsthand what the flagship repeater site looks like on the inside. I mean, so many of us never get to see that. So I think that'll be worth the trip in and of itself. And I tell you, it's just a beautiful drive. So I would encourage you to go. even if you think you're going to miss the meal. And I think that's all I have. Did you have any more of your announcements to go through since I?
Well, I was going to cover the thing about getting your radio updated. So bring your radios, your Kenwood radios, for the latest code plug updates. But I think that rounded it out. Do we want to talk about? Let me get to this last thing. I've got one more upcoming event. I've talked about it for the last few weeks, but if you are in the Chattanooga and Cleveland, Tennessee area, or if you want to drive there, the Cleveland Amateur Radio Club has their Hamfest this Saturday at the Cleveland Amateur Radio Club headquarters. That's cool, they have a headquarters. 560 Johnson Boulevard in Cleveland is that address. You can send an email to Steve Weber at KA4ELN, and as in Nancy, at gmail.com to reserve a table or register. There's this F word throughout the rest of the script here that I love. It's free. It's the price. It's a free event with a free clubhouse tour with a really cool radio room, free tailgating, free tables inside, free parking, and a free prize ticket for the door prize. That's my favorite four-letter word.
Oh, yeah.
The door prize is a Yaesu FT70DR HT. Rogers, are you going to throw a picture of that up?
Yep.
It's a good little durable HT radio, and you get a free ticket for that. So that's this Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Is the Cleveland Amateur Radio Club Starfest Hamfest. All right, now that's it.
All right.
That rounds us out for this week.
Fantastic. So
good stuff going on.
Yeah, if you're in the Chattanooga area, of course, you're probably not monitoring us because there's storms up there and they've activated Skywarn. But if you're in North Georgia, definitely consider heading on up to the Cleveland Amateur Radio Club for their event. Great opportunity to possibly come home with a brand new radio.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah. And all the free prizes, all the free stuff.
You know, if you were to go and win that radio yourself, you would continue your streak of not having bought a radio.
Oh, yeah. Because, Julie buys all the radios.
That's right.
Yeah. So, that would be good. I would very much like to have another radio that I didn't have to pay for.
All right. What are we doing next?
Well, I think it's time to get started with things, but before we do that, we should probably take another round of check-ins.
We should. We'll take check-ins. Let's start with any repeater other than flagship, just so we can get. We'll leave that one for last. Anybody wishing to check in for tonight's net on any repeater other than flagship, please call net control.
This is WSGI 535 Atlanta 33, checking in, checking out.
This is WRCR 952 McDonough 22, in and out.
This is Atlanta 350 WSHG 41 Ted and Tucker, checking in and out. Thanks.
This is WRQB 762, Gainesville 44. Joe, checking in and out.
Yes. This is CW40, WRNX 752. In and out. Have a good day.
This is Tacoma 32 WSCE401. Checking in, checking out.
This is WRTS 814, Tacoma 33, checking in via Zello in Grand Forks, North Dakota, since there's no RF option up here. Maybe you guys can work on that. It's Matthew, normally picking South Carolina, and Grand Forks tonight. Checking in and out, guys. Thanks for the net.
All right. Should we acknowledge that round? Yeah, that was any repeater other than flagship. Is
That's
that what
right.
you called?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go ahead and acknowledge this round, and then we'll open it up to any repeater here in just a moment. So we heard just right when we signed off, we heard Atlanta 148 Chris incoming check in, and he is in and out. And next, I'm going to go through a lengthy list of YouTube check-ins. So we had. Well, I can't see the whole field here. There it is. WRWY456 David in Rogersville, Missouri is a YouTube check-in. We also have Columbus 25 Peter from West Point checking in on YouTube. Rome 12 Mark up in Rome checking in. We have Miko WRW. That's all, folks.
I was wondering how that was going to end.
I don't know why I can't say WRYQ 727 Miko in upstate New York. Also, we had Atlanta 927 Connie in Buford, Atlanta 1150 Tony in Canton, Atlanta 374 Lamar in Dawsonville, Atlanta 355 Damon in Canton, Rome 11 Mark in Adairsville, Atlanta 79 Scott in Covington, Dallas 21 Lisa in southwest Paulding County, Atlanta 168 Tyrone in Jefferson, Atlanta 39 Jeff in Austell, Rome 27 Terry in Menlo, Atlanta 420 William in Roswell. We have a guest check-in from WRWZ 961 Edwin in Rochester, New York, Atlanta 183 John in Canton, Gainesville 58 Jonathan in Oakwood, Gainesville 43 David in Winder, Chattanooga 84 Jim in Hickson. And on RF check-ins, we've got Atlanta 33 Tony in Lawrenceville, in and out. McDonough 22 Tim in Stockbridge, in and out. Atlanta 350 Ted in Tucker, in and out. We heard from Gainesville 44 Joe. Great to hear you back on the air, Joe. Looking forward to seeing you at the picnic. CW40 Robert in Nicholson, in and out. Dacoa 32 Terry in Mount Airy, Georgia. And our long-distance check-in for the night is Dacoa 33 Matthew in Grand Forks, North Dakota. While you're out there, Matthew, be on the lookout for a potential site and see if you can make contact with a tower owner out there and introduce yourself, introduce North Georgia GMRS to them, and see if they have any interest in us locating in North Dakota. That would be fantastic.
You know, that would be fitting, as we're not putting up any other repeaters this year.
That's right.
But then we put one in North Dakota.
Yeah, right. I think that would
be on brand.
That would be a great place to locate. So
it's good and flat. Would get good propagation far and wide.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. So that'd be good stuff. All right. So that is the end of the roster. We're going to take one more round of check-ins from any repeater anywhere before we get things started. Remember, if you lose coverage on your repeater tonight, A great alternative would be for you to switch over to YouTube and monitor from there. We'll be trying to keep an eye on the chat on our YouTube channel and bring any conversations that come up in the chat to the air. So just remember, with the storms coming through, if that is an issue, then definitely jump on over to YouTube. Net Control standing by for check-ins from any repeater anywhere.
Chattanooga 260. This is Chattanooga 260 WSTM 494. Hitting to you from 39 clicks out, downtown Dalton, Georgia. This
Sounds like
K358, Dallas 290. Isaac and Dallas, checking in, checking out.
is BSLY 564, Chattanooga 253, downtown Dalton, Georgia. I'm in and out.
This is WRTI 560, Atlanta 589, Don in Kennesaw. Check me in and out.
Net Control, WROB 245, Atlanta 849. I need for you to come back to me before you start tonight's setup because you missed some information earlier. Thank you.
This is WRVG 415, Atlanta 11, John in Canton. I'll be in and out tonight.
This is WSEV350, Atlanta 206, Zeb from Canton. Checking in and checking out.
Yes, FR 920, Atlanta 306. George, Loganville, checking in, checking out.
Did you get that? Yep. Yep, 206. I got 206. Who was this one? I was typing and I just missed it. Okay, I'm going to stop it right there because I was in the middle of typing something else and I missed that last check-in. You came through clear. I was just focused on the YouTube chat. Can you come back with that one more time? I want to make sure we get you in the log. You did everything right. It was my screw-up. So last station, please try your check-in one more time.
WSFR 920, Atlanta 306, George and Loganville, checking in, checking out.
Got him.
We're all distracted with the storm that rolled through.
Yeah. Replying to comments. And the last one was 206, so it was Atlanta 206, and then he was 306.
Okay.
Just confused my simple mind.
Well, for having half...
I keep telling you guys, I'm not that smart, so...
Well, but you can zoom through that keyboard like nobody's business. For having half of the network disconnected, we're at 71.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good round there. So, all right, let me go ahead and acknowledge these guys. All right, so we got one more YouTube check-in I want to throw in here. We have WSFB816 Daryl is a guest check-in. We don't have a location. That's okay though. We've got you in the log tonight. Have a check-in from Atlanta 260. Carl in Dawsonville is in tonight. Have Dallas 290. Isaac in Dallas in and out. Chattanooga 253. Roy in Dalton in and out. Atlanta 589. Don in Kennesaw in and out. Atlanta 11. John in Canton in and out. Atlanta 206. Zeb in Canton is in and out. In Atlanta 306. George in Loganville in and out. Two more check-ins on YouTube. Chattanooga 26 Kyle in Jasper, Tennessee, not Jasper, Georgia. And Atlanta 908 David in Marietta. those are the check-ins we have at this time. We're going to go ahead and continue on with the net. So we'll go to the top of the roster. And tonight we're talking about field operations, so equipment that you might use to communicate on a GMRS, either in simplex or on the network from the field. If you were trying to get checked in and missed your opportunity, we'll take one more round of check-ins, so stick around. And when we get to the end of the roster, we'll come back for our final round of check-ins and comments. And Pamela, stick around for that. We'll come to your comment when we get there. Let's see. We are at the top of the roster. It looks like Dana was our first one. So Dana, a newly minted amateur, is a KR4DAS. Congratulations on that, Dana. But before we go,
that's fantastic.
It's my laptop. It's this laptop. So
it just randomly started.
Yeah.
Buzzing.
Yeah. Well, that was extremely weird. Well, hopefully that'll be quiet.
There's never
now.
a boring net.
Right. What were those voices? There's so many voices, and there were some unexpected voices coming in. That was Felix. What's his last name? He's a German. Felix. He's the YouTube guy that does the What About It channel.
Oh, I don't know.
SpaceX rocket nerd stuff. So anyway, what were we talking about? Dana
and his amateur ticket.
And his brand new amateur ticket. And also, we just, like today, have minted our 50th lifetime member. So congratulations to David, Takoa10.
That's
and
fantastic.
Thanks for the support for that 50th lifetime membership. That's fantastic.
Thank you, David.
So back to, where was I? I was right here.
We're at the top of the roster with the man on the top of Mount Olympus.
Well, let's see if he's still there. Dana, do you have any comments?
Well, good evening, Net Control. Justin, Gary. Gosh, Rogers is quiet. Is he even there tonight? And, of course, Mike. Well, you guys have already talked about the, the picnic and the part that I'll be involved in. Let me break. And that's, we're going to be doing the directed net from 10 to 1. It'll be myself, and everybody knows my co-host Jonathan will be acting as a roving reporter. And, people stop by. You'll be able to meet, the famed Justin there, and Mr. Mike and Gary and all the Net Control folks. So it should be a pretty darn good time. Let me break. And yes, my new call sign, KR4DAS. Many could say it stands for dumb as, well, you do the rest. Anyway, as far as field operations go, I have many HTs. I have 2 Go boxes, and I pretty much thrive off of HTs. I don't have a mobile in the truck, but what I do have solar charging along with them, and extra batteries and shoulder mics and everything you might need to make things in the field a bit easier. And pretty much that's about it. Hope to see everybody there at the picnic.
Very good. Well, it'll be very nice, Dana, having you holding down the fort in Vanguard and allow me the freedom to escape and go on and meet with people. And so I won't be stuck in the trailer. You will. So I appreciate that very much. And since you're only holding down the fort until 1 o'clock, that'll give you a chance to get out and socialize and meet with some folks as well. So that'll be very fun. Congratulations on the Dandy as Snot KR4DAS.
See, I thought it was Dana's Always Somewhere because he's always listening.
Yeah, he is always listening. So yeah, if it were M, it would be always monitoring. But yeah, he's the guy that's always there. The good stuff, Dana, and looking forward to net operations at the picnic. That's going to be a great asset. If you're on your way up there and you need some driving assistance, Dana will hopefully be able to pull up Google Maps and figure out where you're at and give you turn-by-turn directions on how to get to Flagship. So bear
if
that
anybody
in mind.
can, Dana can.
That's right. That's right. So thank you for that. Next on our list we have Rome 313. Jason. Jason, what do you have for field operations? Do you have the opportunity to get out and operate remotely from your HQ or away from your vehicle?
313, we had a flash of lightning, and it kind of knocked the power out for a second, so I had to be brief on it. First, I would like to thank everybody that responded back to me after my long absence from the radio. I hope everybody's doing well, and as far as that field radio, I've come to understand that it's good to have them because there's a lot of places that a radio can get out that a phone can't. I remember McDonough 22 helping a gentleman out one night, and that's just what I think this is all about, helping each other and, doing what we can for one another.
Well, that's right, Jason, and sometimes that's just the ticket. I know that you've been the guy monitoring at all hours at various points along our history, and that you've been there to help people out as well. And that's been a very powerful component of North Georgia GMRS, is having the availability of somebody pretty much always available and monitoring, so that if you do get in a pinch somewhere, there will be somebody that can answer your call and provide some level of assistance. So, and sometimes it's just a matter of knowing that you've got a voice out there that you can connect to in the middle of the night if you need that. So that in and of itself can be a valuable thing to have. So it's guys like you and Dana and a handful of others that monitor. I know that for the late night, Pamela and Ernest are often available, so that if you do need to make a call, there will be somebody out there that can get you some conversation. So, all right, Jason, and glad to have you back. So don't know where you've been. I'm not sure what the story is, but most importantly is that we've got you back, and hope all is well with you. With that, let's see if Atlanta 255 Jennifer is sticking around, or if she's had enough.
Well, hello, gentlemen. Not going to get this easily. Hopefully am I getting out okay? We did have a storm roll through here, so making sure everything's okay on my end. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. There's a lot going on here with this storm, and there was a significant hail that rolled through this area right here. We're all just a little bit anxious right now about the condition of our vehicles, because we could hear the hail hitting the canopy that protects Vanguard, and it sounded like there were dogs and cats falling from the sky. So we're all a little distracted and a little anxious, but I think that part of the storm is past, and whatever was done was done. There's not much we can do about it now.
Yeah, I was going to say, couldn't do much about it.
Yeah, so hopefully we don't have to file insurance claims, but
we did hear her fine.
We did hear, yes, that was part of the question. Well, she didn't even ask about the weather. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Oh, well, I figure if you can hear me, then my antenna's still up and all will be right with the world. So it is go boxes or portable operation. I have a mobile in my car that I use, and I've also built a couple of go boxes. My son, who do not have vehicles that can be used as a ground plane, so it's that metal ammo can that can be used as a ground plane. It's got a radio in there. You plug it into the cigarette lighter if you need to, and some others are not really into radio and they don't want to display one either. So there's that. I have so many HTs, guys. So many HTs. As Dana likes to say, it's kind of a disease. Let me break. And I want to throw my congratulations out there to Dana to Distributed Antenna Systems, DAS. So if you're in the telecom business, DAS, you know what that is. So very fitting being on Mount Olympus. And the next Ladies' Net will be May 5th. Check-in starting at 8 o'clock. Back to Net Control.
All right, well, fantastic. May 5th, check-in starting at 8 o'clock for the next Ladies' Net. That's great to hear. And, yeah, your antennas are definitely up. The signal is washing in and out just a little bit, but overall, good copy on all of that. So, good stuff. I like the ammo can that you posted here recently with that plastic insert and the way all of that fits together very neatly inside. There's a space for everything, including a little LED flashlight. So that, you know, if you're gonna break out a portable rig, it might not be daylight out, and so you might need the assistance of a light to be able to deploy an antenna, depending on how that antenna is set up. And sometimes these portable rigs will include a just a wire, sort of a Ed Fong dipole antenna arrangement that's really just a kind of a ball of wire at the end of a coax. You can do a number of things with that, like throw that up into a tree or hang it off of something nearby. And so having little compartments in your ammo can kind of sort of facilitate some of that. Oh, there it is right there. It's on the, yeah.
There it is.
That's the, and there's the little flashlight. So I think that's a great stuff. You've got a logbook in there and cables and cords, accessories, a place for the microphone. A very neat little package. So that I think if you just have a battery and a radio and a bunch of stuff thrown into an ammo can, that can work too. It may take a little more time to untangle and sort everything out and get it set up to operate, as opposed to just popping the lid off and plugging it in and you're ready to go. So being organized, I think, is the difference. And these days with 3D printing, you can kind of fabricate your own organizers and things of that nature. So that could be a big asset when it comes to building something like that. So we'll be looking for people's ideas on the 3D print side of things too. I have seen recently some really cool 3D printed rack mount adapters to install devices that are basically were never meant to go into an installed environment. They were just adapters and connectors that you might just have cables plugged into and a little power brick but by mounting these things in a bracket that can be installed in a rack mount cabinet, you can really improve the appearance and performance of a system. And something that we've done here in Vanguard. We have Raspberry Pis that are rack mounted in the cabinet here that we use for linking nodes. So I think 3D printing is going to be really big when it comes to customizing our own equipment. Do you have any 3D printed gizmos in your little portable package?
I was just trying to think of I've got a handful of 3D printed items. I even have a 3D printer. I've never used it. I actually traded a radio for it, to and with a member of the network. I traded a radio for a 3D printer, and I've not found the time to set it up. So my 3D printed items is very small.
Yeah, I've played with the 3D printer, and I've made a couple of things, and the potential is huge. I've got some ideas of things that I want to do with it, but we need to get the studio built, and I've got an area in the studio in mind for that kind of equipment and materials, and it'll be up in the attic.
Oh yeah,
it'll be accessible and usable, but out of the way, and
it can be as noisy as it wants.
Yeah, it really can, and probably won't be having it operating during our nets, but there's lots of other hours of the day that it can be up there doing its thing and won't bother anyone. So looking forward to getting the studio to the place where we can deploy that. So that'll be big. And then it's from there. It's just a matter of these ideas. So building out a container of sorts that you can stuff in a duffel bag, or that you can that you can organize the components inside of an ammo can. I think that's huge. Those little 7 amp hour batteries are just right for the ammo can environment, and being able to build out a plastic divider that holds them into a place so you don't have wires bouncing around and potentially shorting against the inside of the container.
Well, and it gives it a little bit more structure, especially if you're not using a hard-sided ammo can. If you're using a bag or something that's got less or no rigidity to it at all, some of those plastic divider components and things can just give it some structure, help it stand up.
Definitely, yeah, and keep wires and things organized and sorted out the way that they need to be. So that's good stuff, Jennifer. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, on 3D printing, I'm actually working on a faceplate for power, and we'll go into one of the small ammo cans right now.
Oh, that's fantastic. And there's a lot of stuff. If you just spend some time with Google, people have already created 3D print files that you can download, and then you can just run that through the what do they call that? The slicer.
Yep.
And make that print file so that you can print stuff that people have already created, and that's a pretty cool thing. And you can also, in most cases, you can customize those already made up things. So there's lots of free stuff that's out there that maybe is good enough, or maybe can be just right if you customize it a little bit. And I think that the opportunities for 3D printing are huge, and there's different media available for different. There's thermoplastics that will tolerate heat better. There's other plastics that will flex, softer or harder depending on the nature of the device that you're trying to make. I saw where somebody had created openings in a layer of their 3D printing, and were able to come back with a different color and fill those openings so that it actually made labels on the face.
Oh wow!
Of a rack device. So that is a concept I'd never really considered, and I don't know how easy or hard it is to change colors in the middle of a print, but I would think that if you set the slicer up right, you would have stop points where you could do that pretty easily.
Yeah.
So
I think 3D printing could be a category potentially for an entire net. Right, that's a broad topic.
There's lots
especially the application for radio. Could I see this? Yeah. So if you're watching the YouTube stream, a little show and tell, Rogers Radio, but I've seen really cool textured 3D knobs. These are a little slippery. On different radios, they're round, but being able to print your own knobs, maybe you don't want a new knob, maybe you need a new knob because yours came off. These do pull off. I've seen people make cages that will block out the PTT to prevent accidental dead keys, and then on the other side, the cage will hold your headset adapter in place. I've seen guys run bigger batteries on the back of some Baofangs and similar radios, and they need a holster that's custom made to that size. And so the application for radio, especially on the HT side, is endless.
Oh yeah, I think 3D printing is definitely huge. Yeah, so great.
It's cool that Jennifer's experimenting with some of that, and
Yeah, she'll make all the files that we need.
Sure, that's right.
That's right.
That's right.
And I've also seen some cradles as well, like for the car, cup holder cradles, and just desk cradles that it'll angle your HT at just the right angle so you can hear the speaker. So, like you said, endless possibilities out there.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You know, the charge cradles that these HTs typically come with are, you know, that profile is great if it's just going to sit on the desk and charge. But if you're using that radio and you want it to sit in the charger while you're monitoring it, you can't see the display very well in that. And so that's a great idea in terms of being able to build in some of those profiles. And
Jennifer's telling us in the YouTube comments that Bamboo Lab has the color changing setup that you're looking for.
Oh, fantastic.
I don't know exactly what that means, if that's like a different spool of filament or one spool that has multiple colors in it. I'm not sure, but apparently it exists.
You know, I've seen too where people have taken various plastics and grind them up into flakes and heat that stuff up into a mold and run that through an extruder, and they make their own filament material for 3D printing out of recycled plastics. So that's another option, I guess, in terms of the 3D print world is generating your own recycled plastics for the use of
that's
filament.
Cool. That's cool.
So yeah, the sky's the limit in terms of creativity and potential with 3D printing, and I think that that could be a lot of fun. That's a whole rabbit hole that we could go down, and like you say, it could probably be its own net. We'll have to have. Sorry about that. Let me break. All right. You never know when a cough is going to come up on you, and that's what happened. But Jennifer, do you have anything else?
I'm watching you guys on YouTube as well, and I did post that Bamboo Labs. That is a brand of printer, and they have a... Oh, wait, let me back that off so I'm not doubling up on myself. Anyway, it's a brand of printer, and I would love to have one, but I keep spending all my money on radios. So there you go.
Well, that's relatable.
Yeah, that is a thing. We unfortunately, none of us that I know of are just made of money and can just buy whatever we want whenever we want. So that is a factor. I bought the cheapest 3D printer I think that was available. I don't remember what I spent on it, but it was a ridiculously small amount, and I think that I've spent more money on filament and accessories than I spent on the initial printer.
Yeah.
Because it was one of those things that, you know, I knew it would be cool, but I didn't want to invest a whole bunch of money in a 3D printer and then lose interest. And, you know, it would be one of those things that, okay, now I've got several $100s sitting in something that I just never use, which is exactly the case right now, but I'm hungry to break it out and do stuff with it. I just don't have a space, a room in which I can dedicate to that. So you need to have a desk, you need a workstation with a computer to monitor,
flat level surface.
You're going to be moving SD cards back and forth, so you need to be able to read and write SD cards. And yeah, I think that I could definitely spend a lot of time playing with the 3D print. One of the issues that I had with mine was that because I didn't have it on a good solid work table, if it's not level, it will not print well. And so because it wasn't on a super solid surface, it would get most of the way through a print and then go haywire. And when it loses its place mid-print, it creates havoc.
Isn't it an actual haywire at that point?
It almost is.
Just a big old ball of wire
filament that's been... Yeah, so that's where the recycling comes into play, because you can grind that stuff up and you can melt it into new filament and run it again. So potentially, there's no end to the possibility there. Let me break. I'm trying to figure out why my phone's blowing up. It's Jennifer sending me pictures of 3D print stuff. So I'll have to explore that a little bit later. But very good stuff. Next on our list is Atlanta 1196, Philip in Ackworth. Philip, do you have any comments for tonight's net? Any portable or field operating equipment in your inventory? All right, we're going to go ahead and show Atlanta 1196 Philip as in and out and continue on. Next on our list, we have Atlanta 557 Ed in Kennesaw on the Buckhead repeater, sounding fantastic. Ed, what do you have for portable operating equipment?
Great topic. I think all of us need to have some kind of emergency comm, and I've got a few of them. I think all of us should have, and probably all have, at least one HT. Also a vehicle with radio can serve as emergency comms. Let me take a break. And then, of course, you've got the next level up. I also have a Go box. It's not as nice looking as Jennifer's job, and I actually used it when we were at G-Fest. Quick and easy way to set up a station at the Airbnb that we rented for the weekend. So tonight is a perfect example of why you need it. So multiple layers is always best.
Well, that's a great point, Ed, and I think that you're right in that a vehicle-mounted radio is another layer of emergency operating or standby operating, because you know that car can be your radio operating position. We once held a net where through a series of catastrophes, we ended up actually operating a net out of a pickup truck one night because of trouble in the studio. So that is definitely one option for a backup or an emergency or a standby method of operating. So if the commercial power is out in your house and you need to make a radio call, you can go to the vehicle and get that done. And a lot of times our vehicle radios are pretty effective radios. And if sitting in your driveway doesn't get you what you need, you can run down to the supermarket or the gas station or the church and sit in the parking lot and make that contact from there. So that's valid. And then, on a night like tonight where we are concerned about maybe taking a lightning strike or whether the hail has damaged our antenna, breaking out the HT and getting on the air with that is a valid alternative. So
nope, we're not thinking about the vehicles right now. We're just going to let that be another problem for another hour.
Yeah.
We're just not going to think about that.
I'm sure they're fine.
You got me thinking, and I know Jennifer, when we talked to her a few minutes ago, she's very good at this, but I think the unsung or the less common portion of the setups that you should consider. Yeah, you need to think about your radio and your antenna, but I think there's a whole element of adaptation, right? Whether you need to adapt a vehicle-mounted antenna to an HT, whether you need to adapt a pigtail or a T connector for power, how are you going to charge if your HT goes dead? What if you have a spare 12-volt battery? How can you harness that power? Different antennas that you can connect. And I'm thinking about that because that's been something that I've been trying to just fill in some holes in my own kit, if you want to call it that, is how can I make all of the radios that I have utilize all of the antennas that I have if I need to. The rubber duck antennas on these HT radios are pretty durable, but they're not indestructible. So if I break this antenna and I'm out in the woods, I get hurt, but I've got a perfectly good antenna on my truck. How can I make those two things work together? And oftentimes the solution for these things are less than $10. They're very inexpensive antenna connectors and parts that you can use to make all of your equipment interchangeable. So we love to talk about radios, total radio nerd, but I think those little pieces, those little parts and pieces are sometimes what can either get you on the air or keep you off the air.
Well, I think that's very good, and I like, one of the things that I love to do at a Hamfest is search for those little pieces that I think that could be useful.
Yeah.
So, I'm not a big fan of the Anderson power poles for your typical ham shack stuff, but I have found that the bigger ones, the 50 amp and up, have been pretty reliable. It's the little 30 amp.
Oh yeah.
That just don't make good connection. They get hot, and then I've had endless trouble with, and they are, Anderson power poles are officially banned from North Georgia GMRS. Well, not specifically from North Georgia GMRS, but from anything related to Studio B or Vanguard. You're not going to find
look in that bag down there.
You're not going to find you're not going to find that in the equipment that we put together here, because they are problematic. But when you get into the bigger connectors, the 50 amp and above,
you like those?
They seem like they're pretty reliable, and I've used those quite a lot. I noticed in that wheelchair that the batteries are connected with 50 amp Anderson power pole plugs, and so that sparked in my mind, how easy would that be to utilize those batteries for an emergency power source for radio if you needed it. So something that we'll have to definitely take some thought with how we configure that for use as a mobile communications platform.
Yeah,
because I think that's going to have to happen.
That's all right. All right, we'll see.
And also, I was going to add, along those same lines of testing and having field equipment, that's why I love the Friday Night at 9 Simplex. I can't tell you how many times I've been, in the car on the way to my sweet spot because I don't have a good signal at home, and I've used my HT to my mag mount, or I've used my mobile when I get out, and I go up a parking garage, and to the top of it. So I have everything in the bag, and I'm trying out different antennas, different poles, and see what works. So for those people who are out there, members, and anybody with an FCC license, you can try all of that out on Friday night. Test out all of your field equipment, literally in the field.
It's a great point.
Yes, it is.
The little adapter that you would need to do that would be an SMA. It'd either be an SMA male or an SMA female, depending on your radio, to a PL 259,
259, yeah,
or an SO 239, I suppose, depending on what's on your antenna run. But yeah, that connects you to your mobile, and you get a lot better reception.
Right, and a lot of times when I'm setting up at my spot, let me break. A lot of times when I'm setting up at my spot on the garage, I do have my HT, plugged into my antenna until I get the mobile unit out and everything plugged in. So yeah, this Friday night is a great time to test out all of your field equipment.
Oh yeah, and there again, the ham fests that we talk about are a great place to go. Take your radio and your antenna, and look for the adapters and the parts that you need to outfit your kit, so that you have those backup options, so that you can retrofit this antenna with that radio, or that radio with this antenna, and that you have that cross-field compatibility, so that if something breaks, you're not out. You have other options that you can exercise to get back on the air quickly. I think that's an important component to what we have is a small toolbox or a parts kit that has a variety of components. Tower Electronics that you'll find it at the Hamfest.
They have it all.
They've got bins and bins and bins of every sort of adapter and connector and fitting and piece and this and that and mag mount and bracket, and that's a great resource for finding a lot of those small parts.
And a lot of those are we're talking $4, maybe $5 or $6 in this economy, but they're not expensive. They're not cost prohibitive. To make sure that you've got either redundancy with equipment that you already have, or that you have an ability to use equipment that someone else has.
Yeah, that's right. And and as the Rabbit Hole Gang often says, you don't have to have a 3-year supply of food stocks to start with. Where do you start? You start somewhere, and you just get a little bit at a time until you've got the resources and the pieces and parts and tools that you need to be able to have that adaptability and versatility, so that you can recover from a failure and get back on the air.
That's right. I want to go to the YouTube comments real quick. Atlanta60 wants us to also know that there are no Anderson power poles in any North Georgia tower site either.
Yeah, I think that he holds a very similar sentiment. There was a piece of equipment that he was throwing out, and he was throwing it out because it had Anderson power poles and it had failed. And as he was talking about it in disgust, he was like, "This thing's got to go." And all right, but it was a piece of equipment mounted to a blank rack panel, and so I'm thinking, yeah, but I want that blank rack panel because that's a resource for another project.
Sure.
So I haven't removed and discarded that device yet, but I have no intention of salvaging the device. It's going to go, but the panel that was attached to has some value. So definitely, I think he has the same sentiment. In a lab and test environments that I grew up in, all the connections, all the temporary power connections were done with bananas.
Oh, okay.
Banana poles and banana plugs and stackable bananas and so super reliable short-term connections. Sometimes in a lab environment, short-term is well, as I've seen it said, it's temporary unless it works.
I have some equipment set up that way. Temporarily 3 years later.
And sometimes bananas are that. They're it's a short-term connector. It's not meant to be installed and there forever. But I've seen applications where they are, and they do just fine. Yeah. And so that's a universal thing. I don't understand the idea why the Anderson became so popular, because I'm not a fan. And coming from the environment I have, the banana connection is so old. It's been in every lab, everywhere, and it gets used in audio equipment. It gets used in anything DC in a lab environment. I just don't understand why something else had to be made, but here we are. So very good stuff.
Let's go back to Ed and see if he has anything else he wants to add.
Do we have anything else from YouTube that we need to bring up?
Not a ton.
Well, YouTube folks, if you've got comments and you'd like to jump in on this conversation, we'd love to add you to the chat here. So,
Miko, I know you're still listening. I think you had a comment earlier. I'm looking for it about using an HT with an amplifier. You use an HT with an amplifier out in the field or something like that. I'm going to find that comment.
Yeah, we can definitely talk about that. All right, not hearing anything further from Ed. This storm is kind of an odd one. It seems like it's blowing in waves. We had that front come through with the hail, and just heard a brief episode of what sounded like pretty heavy rain come through as another wave. And Gary's showing me the weather radar from down the way there, and
it
looks like we've got a pretty strong cell that's gathering up here right now. So
is that going to be more frozen rain?
I hope not. No, I hope not. And that circular rain, we don't need any of that either.
No.
So, but we'll be on the lookout for that. And if the circular rain comes, we don't have a lot of good shelter options from here. So we may be going for a ride. Stay tuned. All right, let's go next on the list to Dallas 20. Not in Columbus. David, do you have any comments for field operations? He probably knows a thing or two about working in the field.
Hey guys, yeah, it's a pretty good light show over here, so I know that radio is popping back and forth, but I carry a number of things with me, and it is from an headphone J-pole that I take out to the woods with me, including a Yagi, but I also carry a roll-up J-pole, which is, I got it off eBay. It's N9TAX. It's a roll-up Slim Jim antenna, and I carry a number of sections of coax to try and keep that to a minimum. But that's my thing. You know, when I go at a job site or go out in the middle of the woods, see what radios hit, what repeaters, and last time I was in Talladega, I brought a radio with, I hooked up my Anytone, and I got a 34 amp hour battery I brought out with me, so it worked fairly decent. I was able to make contact with Ed out there in the middle of nowhere, but then lost it.
Well, that's the challenge, I guess, when you are operating in a remote location, is sometimes your contacts can be fleeting as conditions change. You know, wind blows and trees move and stuff happens out there. When you have a marginal connection to begin with, you can face a lot of challenges in communications. But having that flexible J-pole that you can carry easily and deploy rapidly, is that what you got in your hand there?
Yeah, I was, for the YouTube viewers, I was going to show this. I keep one as well, and I think, David, we probably have the same one, because this is the N9TAX Labs roll-up J-pole. Yeah, you can hang it up and from a tree or from any sort of elevated position.
So if you had some paracord, you could throw a line. You know, a lot of times you take a piece of paracord and tie it around a bottle.
Yes.
Then you can throw a half-filled bottle over a tree limb and use that to raise your antenna pretty easily. And I mean, we're probably going to have a water bottle around. There's a pretty good chance that somebody's going to have a water bottle. I seem to recall, I think it might have been David at Chester Frost Free Park. Was that you engaged in deploying that antenna, or am I imagining things, David?
Yes, sir. That was me and Dave Soyak and Jeff out there attempting to sling a Mountain Dew bottle across a limb, and we just gave up. There was a gentleman over there who was trying to talk him into using his tennis ball launcher to get a string up there, but he didn't seem that friendly about it. So, but before we get disconnected for whatever reasons, this Sunday, the rabbit hole is the benefits of preserving your own food. So just wanted to throw that out there pretty quick, just in case we lose power or what have you. So, but, you know, what are the benefits? You're able to put your own ingredients in there and control the quality of the food. So, but yeah, that was us up there trying to throw that over there. And we are going to find something much better.
Well, if you have a shortage and you need more, I know where you can find a plethora of Mountain Dew bottles.
Oh, there's always... Yeah, there's always
they
Mountain
are
Dew
around.
bottles around, and the key is you want a bottle that's half full. Because they throw so well, and they'll travel very very nicely. But there also there is a device that the tree trimming guys have, and basically it's a canvas sack.
Yes.
And it can be a metal weight. It might be steel shot. It might be sand. But it's basically a weighted canvas bag with a grommet on it that you can tie a rope through. You can snap a line onto it, and then you can give that line a good rotation and then let it fly, and you can get that up and over a tree limb pretty reliably with reasonable accuracy. And I think you can get that as a kit for probably $20. And I'm fairly certain after the Chester Frost-Free event I bought one, but I'm not exactly sure where that is right now. So
I've got one somewhere as well.
Yeah, we had to pack everything up and move out of the house, and so that's in a box or a crate or a bin somewhere. If I had a reason to get something over a tree limb today, I'd probably go back to the method that I've
tried
seen
and true.
done. And I've seen the tree guys do this too. In fact, that's where I learned that from, was that when we had some guys here to do some tree work, that's what they did was they actually asked me for a soda, and I thought they were going to drink it, and I couldn't understand what the hell are you doing pouring a soda.
They threw it over a tree.
But that's what they poured half of it out, and then and I don't think they drank any of it.
Rogers is showing on the screen right now the arborist throw line kits.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Little weighted bags and a whole bit of string.
All right, so I don't see any of them for $20, but
they're around there, 23, 24.
Yeah, well, inflation.
Yeah.
So there we go with
yeah.
They were $20 back in the Chester Frost-Free days. But very good stuff.
Anyway.
All right. Well, David, do you have anything else for field operations? Somebody's on the key.
Sorry, that was me. My bad.
Yes, sir. You were mentioning about the extra connectors. The Hamfest is the best place to go. I've got one of these small Plano organizers that's got a whole bunch of little hole cubbies in it, and I've got everything to change from N-type connector to 239, all the way up to one that, like you were talking about, attaching it to a HT to hook up another antenna to it. So, and I keep that in my truck, one of kind of each one, just in case, because there's nothing worse than going, oh, I got the wrong antenna. It's an N-type, and I don't have that connector. So buy a few of them. And also, too, it's good to have a couple of short sections of cable. You don't need those 30, 40, 50-foot runs. Sometimes you just need a 10-footer. And, you can find those things pretty cheap. So, yeah, get your little collection together, because you never know when you may need them.
Yeah, that's a great point. And as you mentioned, the Hamfest is a great place to start collecting that stuff. And you don't have to go hog wild. You just each time you go to the Hamfest, just pick up one or two items, and before you know it, you'll have a pretty well outfitted kit, so that you'll be able to make whatever adapter that you need for whatever situation it comes up. And if you're on a project and you're at David's house helping him make an install, or if you're at somebody else's place and they're trying to hook something up and they've got an SO239 and the cable is an N, and there's no way to make those play nice together, and you just happen to have the adapter, you can save the day. So
you'll be the hero.
Yeah. And those adapters are the good ones are a little bit pricey. The ones you get at the Hamfest are pretty affordable, and those are the ones that you want to give away. Well, you buy the Elcom or the Larson or the brand name stuff. You might want to keep those a little tighter at hand, but in any case, you can save the day if you have those adapters available. So definitely worth having a collection of that stuff around. All right. One more time, David, do you have anything to follow up with?
No, sir. Just come out Saturday and meet with us at Taco Mac. Enjoy a good lunch. That's at 11 o'clock over off Barrett and Dallas. And everyone be safe out there. This wave is past us now, so just keep an eye on it. Great day, guys.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, I'm going to have to come out there again and join you guys and have another plate of rabbit wings. Those were very tasty.
I need to make it out for one of those.
Yeah, we might just have to crash one of those, make an appearance, and
I need to get some rabbit wings.
Have some fellowship with the rabbit hole guys. So preserving food and doing it yourself. I think that what David had said about preserving your own food and being able to control the ingredients. I took this microwave lasagna to lunch to work to have at lunch the other day.
Oh boy.
And it was really, really tasty. But I was just curious, what's in this stuff?
Never look.
What is how much salt is in? I started looking at the ingredients, and I have no idea what's in the. I mean, I didn't see anything that said pasta sauce. I didn't see anything that said, pepperoni or Italian sausage. All the ingredients were things that I couldn't pronounce, and the list of ingredients was the entire side panel of the package. It's ridiculous, the stuff that they put in our food, and so the thing that David said about being able to control the ingredients in the food that you preserve, it's a much bigger deal than we really give credence to. So I think that this could be a really important rabbit hole to tune into. David, I'm just curious, will that be live streamed?
Yes, sir, it will be. We actually just purchased a new it's a cheaper webcam, but we're going to give it a shot before we start actually, stepping up. But yes, sir, it will be live streamed, and we're still learning. Need to get with Gary on that one. Yeah. Mr. Davis there.
No, very good stuff. Yes, that's exciting stuff, and that's where the live stream for North Georgia GMRS for this net. It started off with very modest equipment, a webcam connected to a USB port on a computer, and in fact, I probably have some of those laying around. We should get together and you could make use of maybe some of that. Another thing that we used for our first nets was a free software called OBS Studio. Mm-hmm. And OBS would allow you to switch between a couple of webcams. I don't know. You could do as many as 3, but it wasn't happy about it. It would do 2 pretty well. But you can also switch graphics in and out, web pages, things like that. The challenge is having somebody that can be a part of the program and focus on that. And that's what Gary's role here is in our net. Gary's primary function is producing the content for the show. He gets some help from Rogers. Rogers provides Gary with some of the web pages and some of the photos, so that we can keep that fresh and add in different shots during the course of the presentation. So we didn't do any of that with OBS Studio. It was really just camera shots and sometimes some information. And but it's a great place to start. And as time goes on, I think your net will likely grow as a result of the live stream. And pretty soon, the Rabbit Hole Net will be the premier net on the North Georgia GMRS Network. So looking forward to that, David. And anything we can do to help you along that way, just let me know. And like I said, I probably have some of those webcams that I can send your way, and you can try them out and see what you like and see what works. But all right, with that, we're going to continue on. Next, we have Rome 107, Don in Rome. Don, do you have any comments for remote and field operations? All right, not hearing anything from Don. We're going to continue on, and next we have Atlanta 849, Pamela in Duluth. Pamela, do you have any comments tonight?
Well, yes, gentlemen. I was hoping you'd get to me before we had to shut down because lightning's getting kind of close over here. Also, you started out talking about the 3D, and we do have a Turner 3 microphone, and Patrick, Atlanta 20, he has made a control button and a lever will be made here eventually to put on that so my husband could use one of his favorite ones from back in the day. Let me break. We have 3 options also. We have 2 Radioddity GM 5 watts radios. We have a 20-watt Leakson 988 UV gold-colored metal box. Let me break. The last one is an HT, is the Baofeng 5RM, and that is 10 watts. And that is our show for tonight. So back to you guys. Been a great net.
It sounds like a pretty good collection of radios to give you options, low power, medium power, kind of range there. Thanks for the comments. I heard you earlier that we had omitted the contact information. Rogers let me know that you needed to share, I think, an email address that got somehow skipped over in my script earlier. Do you want to share that for folks that may need to RSVP for the Peachtree Corners lunch gathering event?
Yes, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity now just in case I have to shut down. Yeah, they can reach us at, I'll say it first and I'll spell it. It's skygazerpamela849@gmail.com. And that is SKYGAZERPAMELA 849@gmail.com, and that is the 19th, I believe we said, of this month at JR's Log House Restaurant. Thank you.
All right, fantastic. SkyGazerPamela849@gmail.com is the RSVP address if you want to join their lunch meetup later this month on the 19th.
And that's actually the one that I attend.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Closest to you?
It is.
Are you going this month?
I hope so. I plan to.
You better email an RSVP.
I'm VIP, so I'll just roll up.
Okay. my mistake.
I'm kidding.
He's already on the list.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
But I was a part of the first one that she organized, so she
That's
definitely does
awesome.
a very good, very good lunch there.
That's good. Yeah. That's good. All right. Thank you, Pamela. Moving on in the log. Next, we have Atlanta 1126, Joseph in Snellville. Joseph, did you have any questions or comments for the net tonight regarding portable operations and field radios?
Net Control, appreciate your comeback there. I wanted to first off congratulate Dana. I have not yet made his acquaintance face-to-face, but KR4DAS. I've been sitting here trying to figure out what I can say for DAS, and I'm having no luck. But congratulations from Kilo Quebec 4 Yankee Bravo Tango, which is you better talk. So that's pretty easy to remember on my end. Also, I wanted to invite him. He probably already knows about this, but the Gwinnett Amateur Radio Society meets in the Lawrenceville area. Gives you a free year's membership when you pass your exam. So if that's something you'd be interested in, I'd be really grateful to have you come visit us. We have 300 and some odd members. Let me break. And we'd love to have you as part of the group. As far as mobile information, ICOM in my truck and another ICOM of the same type that is pretty much portable. I can put it in any vehicle we have. And a couple of Kenwood 1300s HTs that we got from Hobbit Communications. So we use that in our vehicles a lot as well. Okay, Greg? Finally, we're very much looking forward to the picnic. We hope to be there and visit with all of you folks, do some face-to-face for a change. So that's our commentary at this point. Over.
Very good stuff. And I think that DAS, I think maybe a good one for that might be Dana always stands by.
Oh, that's better. That's
yeah. I think that's fits
good.
him. And so we'll put that one on the list and see if maybe something better comes along. But I think stands by is Dana always stands by is that's part of who he is. So we'll definitely have to consider that.
The other one that I had come up with, because it's in his YouTube chat name, Simplex. Dana always Simplex.
That one occurred to me earlier too, and I thought that would be good. But yeah, so I don't know.
I like yours better. Stands by.
We'll have to put a list together, and then maybe later we'll vote on them. So Dana, you don't get a vote.
We could just denote a Thursday night net to Dana's new call.
That's right.
And come up with a plan for him.
KR4DAS. What is the DAS?
There you go.
I like the idea, yeah.
Not a bad idea.
We'll get a poll going on the Facebook page.
Fantastic.
Do we know someone who can make that happen?
Yeah, I think we do.
Okay.
I think he's sitting next to me.
Okay, very good.
All right, and we were also talking about some of the radios in the arsenal, and the NX series of Kenwood radios. One of the things that's really cool about the NX radios is the way that the channels are programmed from Hobbit Communications. So you get a number of zones, and basically you have a North Georgia GMRS zone, and you have another zone that has some repeaters from the surrounding areas, states. And then there's a sort of a DIY zone that you can punch up. So if you're traveling to Indiana and you want to be able to use one of the repeaters in the Indianapolis area, you can go to that DIY zone and you can pull up any of the repeater frequencies, and then you can manually key in the tone that you need for that repeater that day. Now, when you turn the radio off and turn it back on, it's going to default back to its original programming, which is good and bad. I mean, it means that you're going to have to reprogram that each day that you're there using it, but you're not there forever. You're there as a visitor, and you don't really need that to be there on a permanent basis. And it also makes that channel easy to reconfigure the next time you travel to a different area if that repeater is going to use that same frequency. So these NX series radios, we just don't give them enough credit, and I think that they're a huge asset to GMRS users, not just here in North Georgia GMRS, but really everywhere. Let me break. So with that in mind, I would encourage you, if you're thinking about a radio, that even if you're not a member of North Georgia GMRS, if you're monitoring us on YouTube, or if you're in North Dakota hanging out looking for radios to buy, look at Hobbit Communications, because I just don't know of a better option for GMRS radios than a Part 90 radio from Kenwood. Now, Motorola makes great radios, and you could probably replicate that channel programming in a Motorola radio, in an ICOM radio. The Part 90 radio offerings that are out there, there's a handful of them. You could probably make a similar programming arrangement, but this is a code plug that's kind of off the shelf, and so when you buy a radio from Hobbit, you're going to get one that's already programmed for our network and easy to program for another network. Also, if you are out of the area and you would like a custom zone programmed into your radio, you can specify what frequencies and tones and labels you would like applied for that. And those can be programmed into the radio for an additional fee. Do you know what that fee was?
I don't, but I think it's nominal.
Yeah,
if you provide the frequencies and the tones and the labels, I don't know what the Hobbit charges, but
yeah,
it's not cost preventative.
I don't know what it is either. I just know that it's a lot less than it is at a typical radio shop.
That's right. Yeah.
So for GMRS users, if you're looking at a new radio, definitely recommend the NX series from Kenwood, mostly for that reason. So
and I think too, Jason or Justin, isn't there an opportunity at the barbecue with some radio programming?
Well, that's right. It's limited to the NX series radios. So,
right.
I mean, if you want to bring your old Kenwood TK880, that's great. You can do that, but he's not going to program that radio.
Right.
He's going to be programming the NX series radios, and it's basically just going to be an updated version of the same code plug. So it'll include the latest repeaters. It's not going to be. It's not going to be a hey Gary, while you're in there, can you add this? Can you add that? Can you add these other 6? It'll just be the standard generic code plug for North Georgia GMRS, but it will include all of our newest repeaters. So with
all
that,
the ones that we can talk about anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Are there repeaters in the works that we can't talk about?
Well, the one in North Dakota.
Oh yeah, we can't really talk about that one. What about the one in Blue Ridge? Can we talk about that? When's that one going to be on the air?
Oh my goodness! This year. This year.
You may hear about it here first because this crew we keep bad secrets.
Oh,
here.
we're terrible.
We're
at that.
terrible.
We've got to get Dallas. We've got to get Blue Ridge. And we've got to get North Dakota.
Yeah, just those 3. No big deal. There was once talk about a repeater in the Bahamas. St. Martin's.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's.
Right.
I wonder if that's still in the works.
I haven't heard about that.
I think the catch was we needed a custodian that wasn't 130 years old.
Yes.
Because Gary didn't want to put a repeater there and then have no one there to take care of it.
Right.
So we needed somebody that could serve as a custodian for that machine. That was younger than 130.
Right.
I guess somebody needs to volunteer to live there. Let me break. I don't see any hands up.
Yeah. I'm gonna stay on my mountain. Now, Side Salad would gladly volunteer to temporarily relocate to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
She's more of a beach girl.
I think 947 would definitely not say no to that trip.
Yeah.
But there would have to be a return date.
I took a cruise to the Bahamas once.
Did you?
A few years, right before COVID, 2019, and it was lovely. It was, it's a lovely place.
I would definitely go like to go. I've never been.
It's
I
nice.
would love to go and check out the repeater site. But Gary said he's not paying for trips, so I guess I'm not going.
Thursday night net from the Bahamas just has a ring to it. It just has a ring to it.
That would be way more fun than getting a new puppy.
I wonder what it would cost to take Vanguard to the Bahamas.
Oh boy.
All right. Was that Joseph we were talking to?
Yeah.
Joseph, do you have anything else?
Yeah, Control, I was interested. You had commented that Dana is going to be doing a directed NAD. Do you know what frequency that's going to be on?
Yeah, there's some debate as to how that's going to play. There was a discussion that was going to be on the Monument repeater, but we have a technical challenge to be able to accomplish that. And I think that probably the easy answer is that we'll put Dana on all of the linked repeaters. And, it's just 3 hours, so... and it's a Saturday. It's not like we'll be interrupting prime drive time or things like that. I think we'll just let Dana have the network for 3 hours on Saturday, And so any North Georgia GMRS linked repeater would be most likely the way to access that. And if he's not on all the repeaters, then he'll be on Monument. But Monument doesn't have a node that I'm aware of. Do you know if Monument has a node?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Ballground used to. I don't know what happened to the node that was attached to that.
I think it's still there because I think that we wanted to be able to still bring that one into the network as needed. And I think that node is actually at the R&D headquarters at the Wolf residence.
Yeah, I was going to say we should
with a link radio.
Should phone up Atlanta 810 for details.
I guess that if that's the case, it probably would be just a matter of tuning to Monument to convert that. So that might still be a play. So the answer is yes. Yes, there will be a directed net. And as far as frequency, it'll be on one of the North Georgia GMRS repeater segments to be determined. So we'll have further discussions on that. But thanks for the question. With that, let's continue on. We have next Atlanta 317 David in Sandy Springs. David, do you have any comments for the net with regards to field operations? All right. All right, we're going to pass on David and continue on. Next in the roster, we have Atlanta 260, Carl in Dawsonville. Carl, same question. Any comments for the net? Any field operations equipment you'd like to talk about?
We got dropped.
Uh-oh. Okay. That did not get us back. All right. Well, this is interesting. So those of you that are watching us on YouTube, it looks like our radio connection to the network has been interfered with at the node level. So I'm not sure. Maybe it could be network here. Let's see if can we get out. But it looks like we're still connected to the stream, so I think we still have a network path. Let me try logging into Node Manager again and see if
I am getting out on Wi-Fi.
All right. So should be right there.
That's
and
it.
Let's try to. Oops, I forgot. To
There we
say
are.
it.
Nope, we're back in.
Okay, I think we're back. Yeah, looks like we're lighting up the node this time. So let's take a step backwards here and see if I'm not sure exactly when we dropped, but
I think it was it David. It's David. Atlanta 317. I've updated the log.
Okay, right here.
But we weren't going out.
Yeah, David, Atlanta 317. Do you have any comments for tonight's net? We're talking about field operations. This deja vu all over again.
Yeah.
All right, not hearing any comments from Atlanta 317. We're going to continue on next with all the way down here to Atlanta 260, Carl in Dawsonville. Carl, do you have any comments for the net with regard to field operations? No, we're still there, but
I know, but with all the others.
Oh.
They're all
Oh. All right. So it looks like we have. We should still be linked right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So looks like we have some connectivity issues. I think we must have some some network shenanigans going on with our node management system. So,
well, our friend Dallas 20 reports that we are coming through loud and clear. So, carry on.
All right, we're going to keep on plugging away.
David says so.
Not hearing anything from Atlanta 260, Carl in Dawsonville, brings us to the end of the roster. So, before we take any additional check-ins, let me go ahead and acknowledge these last YouTube check-ins. So we have on YouTube, we have Atlanta 379 Scott in Sandy Creek, New York. We have Atlanta 60 Gary in Noonan. We have Atlanta 95 Lester in LJ, and we have Chattanooga 69 the Velvet Elvis on a mission. He's probably headed to the 7-Eleven for a Slurpee.
I don't blame him.
Yeah. Is that where... I don't remember where Elvis took all of his. All I remember is peanut butter and banana sandwiches. So.
Be safe out there, Ronnie. Hope the weather's lightened up for you.
Definitely. All right, so that's the end of the roster, which means at this time we're going to open up for one last round of check-ins and any questions or comments. So if you meant to get in and you weren't able to earlier, this is your chance to get in the log and also to get on the air with your question or comment. And we're still monitoring our YouTube chat, so if you have anything you'd like to plug into the chat to bring to the conversation, please do so. Net Control standing by for any repeater anywhere. Late check-ins, any questions or comments? All right. Well, I guess we're going to wrap this one up. Well, that makes this an international net, huh?
Yeah.
This is WSGJ 730. Mobile and monitoring.
WSGJ 730?
Is that what you heard?
That's what I heard.
WSGJ 730.
All right. Net Control heard, I believe it was WSGJ 730, mobile and monitoring. We're going to go ahead and log you in tonight's net. And no other comments, no other check-ins. So that's going to make you the tail gunner tonight. So welcome to the network. Did you have any questions or comments for field operations?
Coming and going on my receiver here. I don't know, I'm a flagship. Fort Mountain is down, which is what I usually use, and I wonder if there's a clear channel I can get on, or a clear repeater. Where are you located?
Where are we located?
We are located in the Vanguard studio, so we're actually on all of the North Georgia GMRS repeaters, with the exception of the Northern Core. The Northern Core repeaters have been disconnected from the net tonight because they have a Skywarn activation in that area, and I'm not aware that that's been reconnected yet. It looks like it is not. They have their own net going on up there. So. As far as my location, I'm on all of the repeaters. So if you scan around the dial and you can hear something that comes in more clearly than flagship, then that would be a good option. Not knowing where you're at, all I could do is suggest, we're on Columbus, we're on Jersey, we're on Rome, we're on the Peachtree DeKalb repeater, we're also on the Buckhead machine. That might be a good option. That has phenomenal coverage.
Yeah.
Lula, 650 repeater. Dallas, Watkinsville, Zebulon, and Ocala. I doubt if that one's going to work for you, but it's always worth a mention. So hopefully you can get in on any of those. But at this time, I think we're going to go ahead and close up the net. And, of course, the network will be open for conversation after we finish up. But let's see, where's that part of? There it is. It's right here in front of me. So right here it says, this concludes the North Georgia GMRS Regional Nets. Tonight we had a total of
79
chickens, which is a pretty impressive number considering that our Chattanooga folks were unable to participate tonight. So glad to have all of you along nonetheless, and thanks very much for participating. Net Control will now be returning the repeaters back to normal use. Everyone who signed in should sign out. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember, comments on YouTube video shows engagement with the video and helps the channel grow. Tune in next week on any North Georgia GMRS linked repeater or on the YouTube live stream. With next week, what are we talking about next week? Next week we're talking about, I've got it right here. Our topic next week is encouraging friends and family to participate in GMRS radio. So think about that. Things that you can use to talk to your friends and family members about being engaged and being a part of the network. So
I know most folks know this, most of our users know this, but just a good reminder, getting your friends and family involved on the GMRS side is easy because your one call sign applies to your entire immediate family.
That's right. And you know, one way I like to describe that is consider your call sign. Your FCC issued call sign is kind of like your last name. All right. So WQIR 514 is the same call sign that Julie and I use.
Yep.
But if you wanted to distinguish by first name between Julie and I, you would either call out to Atlanta 946 for me or Atlanta 947 for her. So the TAC number is kind of like a first name. Call sign's kind of like a last name. So
well said.
So for folks that don't really get why we use TAC numbers in GMRS radio, and you know, that's a question a lot of hams have. They hear us and they hear the TAC numbers, and you know, that's not a call sign. And you're right, it's not. But that's why we use both. So one call sign covers many members of your family, virtually everyone in your family.
Pretty much
your wife, your parents, your children, step family members, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews,
cousins.
I think so. I mean, yeah.
Immediate family.
Yeah. So I mean, if there's blood involved, or you know, if it's a marital relation, I think that it pretty well gets covered.
You pretty much can reference Thanksgiving dinner. So anybody around the table at Thanksgiving is likely to be covered under your GMRS FCC call sign.
So there's really no reason not to have quite a lot of people from your family involved in GMRS radio. Now, whether you make them members of North Georgia GMRS isn't really important, because you can still engage with those members off the network in simplex and activities around the property limit break. Sure has taken a long time to close the net.
You went way off the script.
But
I think I did that.
But that's what next week's topic is about. So we'll dig into that more next week. We're going to talk about friends and family in North Georgia GMRS communications. So with that, thanks for allowing us to serve as your net control this evening. Good night, everyone. This is Atlanta 946 WQIR 514. My name is Justin.
And this is WRWM 344. Blue Ridge 63. My name is Mike.
And this is WSAL 368 Atlanta 263. My name is Rogers.
And this is WRUB 711 Atlanta 519. My name is Gary.
It sounds like we're going to soak before we get out of here. Good night, everyone. Grab that mute.
3-1.